Hey everyone, welcome to our channel, where untold stories and unsolved mysteries come to life. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated on all our fascinating cases. Today we're diving into a mysterious story about a man who disappeared in an inexplicable way. Stay tuned until the end to uncover the shocking details.
In a forgotten village, nestled between mist-covered hills, there was a forest the elders spoke of only in whispers. They called it the Forest of Death. People avoided it, especially after sunset. Legend had it that those who ventured inside never returned, or if they did, they were never the same. On a cold autumn evening, four friends, Alex, Mara, Vlad, and Andrea, decided to explore the forest. Each had their own reason. Alex wanted to debunk the myths. Mara was fascinated by legends. Vlad was a skeptic, and Andrea didn't want to appear scared. With their flashlights ready and cameras rolling, they stepped into the forest, unaware of the horrors awaiting them. The air was heavy and damp, the silence oppressive. As they walked deeper, the trees seemed to close in, forming a dark tunnel. The wind whispered through the branches, but it wasn't just the rustling of leaves. It sounded like murmured words in an unknown language. Vlad laughed nervously. "I think the elders had too much wine when they made up these stories." Then the first sound came. A rustling, as if something was moving through the bushes. Mara swallowed hard and whispered, "Did you hear that?" They all nodded. Andrea started to tremble, and Alex aimed his flashlight at the trees. The shadows stretched unnaturally against the bark, shifting as if they were alive. "It's just a trick of the light," Alex said, though his voice lacked confidence. Suddenly, Vlad screamed, "Something touched me!" He spun around, but there was nothing, just the thick darkness and the towering trees. Their breathing quickened, their hearts pounded. A sharp sound sliced through the silence, a faint, eerie laughter, coming from nowhere and everywhere at once. A whisper followed, chillingly close to their ears. "You shouldn't have come." Their flashlights flickered. The cameras shut off. A dense fog rose from the ground, wrapping around them like ghostly fingers. Within the mist, dark silhouettes began to take shape, shadowy figures with hollow eyes and featureless faces. They moved closer. Andrea bolted, but something grabbed her ankle. She fell with a scream. Alex rushed to help, but her skin was ice cold. Vlad and Mara pulled at her, but an invisible force seemed to hold her back. "We need to go!" Vlad shouted. With one final yank, they freed Andrea. They ran, their lungs burning, shadows chasing them. The laughter grew louder, echoing in their heads. They burst out of the forest just as the first light of dawn crept over the hills. Only then did they dare to look back. The forest stood still, unmoving, but at its edge, among the trees, four shadowy figures stared at them. Hollow eyes, faceless. Andrea sobbed. "It's us," she whispered. That night, they swore never to speak of what had happened. But no matter how hard they tried to forget, the shadows didn't leave them. Night after night, they felt them lurking, heard their whispers, saw them reflected in mirrors. Days passed, but the paranoia only grew. Alex began waking up with deep scratches on his arms, ones he didn't remember getting. Mara would hear voices calling her name when she was alone. Vlad saw his reflection blink when he hadn't. Andrea refused to sleep at all, mumbling that if she did, she wouldn't wake up herself, but something else in her place. One evening, Alex received a message on his phone. No number, just static and a single line. "Come back." He showed it to the others, their faces pale. Then, Mara gasped. The shadows in the corner of the room had shifted. Vlad grabbed a knife from the kitchen. "We need to end this." Andrea whispered, "How?" They returned to the forest at midnight, standing at the entrance, their breath forming ghostly clouds in the air. The trees seemed taller, their twisted branches forming eerie shapes. As they stepped forward, The ground felt softer, like stepping onto something alive. The deeper they went, the colder it got. The whispers returned, this time louder, more distinct. They were calling their names. Alex clenched his fists. "We're not afraid," he shouted into the void. A grave mistake. The laughter returned, but this time it was deafening. The ground beneath them shook. The trees shifted, opening into a clearing where a single ancient cabin stood. The windows were dark, the door slightly ajar, as if waiting for them. With no choice, they stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and the scent of decay. A table stood in the center, and on it, 4 dolls, each one eerily resembling them, bound with red string. Their names were carved into the wood beneath them. Mara reached out to touch hers, and the moment she did, a scream filled the room. Not hers, but something else's, something inhuman. The walls pulsed as if breathing. The ceiling cracked open, revealing hundreds of hollow eyes staring down at them. "Burn them!" Andrea shouted, grabbing the dolls. But the moment the fire touched them, reality shattered. They found themselves outside the forest, gasping for air. The sun was rising. The forest was silent. They never spoke of it again. But years later, as Alex lay in bed, his phone buzzed with a new message. "Come back." And this time, he felt the cold breath of something standing just behind him.
I know you're probably wondering what happened in this mysterious story, but sadly, I don't have the answers for you either. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, leave a comment, and tell us what you think happened. Don't forget to subscribe because we've got plenty more strange tales and unexpected events coming your way. See you in the next one, where the mysteries never stop. Until then,